Hi friends, I'm back with a video on vocabulary. I have a set of 9 words today which belong to the vocabulary fraternity, but in these words which I have been trying to share with you is how to retain them mnemonically. Alright, because we are all Indians here and I believe my videos through these words would be circulated amongst those people from Indian origin, specifically those who wish to retain these words plus use them but at ease. Alright, remember friends, vocabulary is always used with those who know it, by the way. Other than that, it sounds as if you're rude at someone when you use them when they don't know it. Well, coming back to the video, before we go to the video, I have one more thing to inform you guys. The thing is, at the end of this video, you will come across one particular aspect of communication which I would like to share with you to maintain your work-life balance. Well, let's begin with the 9 words or vocabulary words today. The very first one is abrogate. When we talk about abrogate, I am basically referring to something in meaning which is shunned, which is boycotted, or in other ways revoked formally. When we talk about revoking, I am basically talking about lashing out at someone, being angry at someone. So if I probably have to mnemonically retain it, I would definitely talk about my language, that is in Hindi. So if I say abrogate, I probably divide the word. I would probably break the word in a mannerism which basically sounds and settles down and sits with the sound of a language which is also known as Hindi. So if I put it in this mannerism, abrogate as in abrogate, but that means I have shouted out, lashed out at someone so badly that now I am making it social, I'm making it known to people that this person was shunned by me, this person was revoked by me, and now when he stands or she stands at the gate, that is where everyone would probably look upon that person or look at that person. I'm sorry, look upon is always you expect something out of a person who's going to guide you, but look at that is physically looking at that person. So abrogate is a word which you can probably retain it through dividing it in abrogate or abrogate, but because I have shouted or lashed at you. That is what I would rather like to share with you. The very first one, I guess it was easy. If it is easy, you can probably retain it with you. The second one, evanescent. Now, when I talk about this word, I have this particular, I'm sorry, this is not working. But then when I have this particular word, I have at the end of the word evanescent as scent, which basically talks about when we use a perfume. So when we talk about using perfume, I have this particular word as scent. And when I put perfume over my apparel, when I put perfume over my apparel, I am probably talking about something in water will soon vaporize, will soon vanish in a way. Of course, not the fragrance, but the content or in the liquid form which will definitely become into vapor. So that's where evanescent would rather tend to talk as tending to vanish like vapor, something which is just vanished, which has just passed your eyes and then it's vanished, nothing could be seen. So something went past you and then you could barely see it. So that is where you could probably talk about evanescence in a way, right? Okay, the third one, estimable. Have you heard about the word esteem or self-esteem? Right, it probably has this aspect of the word and the meaning into which we talk about this word as estimable. Of course, when we talk about a self-esteem, that means a self-pride maybe, in a way, yes. So when I talk about a word estimable, I am referring to a person who is respectful in a mannerism. So that means we give them all the respects, due respects, which they probably demand or command in a way. So estimable is basically a word which we could probably use for our parents, for people those who are stalwarts in the society. So estimable is one new word which you could probably talk about as respectful in a way. So you can replace respectful as plain English compared to estimable. So that becomes, or that makes your language better with the usage of vocabulary. So what we talked about estimable is referring to respectful. So just interchange the words and make your language stronger. The third, palaver. Now, when I talk about a palaver, I would definitely mnemonically talk about someone who is a pa lover. Now, here, pas refers to fathers, so that's how you could probably talk about my pa in a way. So, and then the next aspect of the second half of the word basically talks about lover. So, if I had to probably connected to the meaning of this word, it talks about speak rapidly. Now, if you could probably imagine, I'm not being feminist here or probably gender biased, but then what I'm trying to tell you or connect with you guys is, have you ever imagined a girl who is in total love, in awestruck of her father, and then she blabbers and blabbers and blabbers about what her father does, what her father is. In a way, she's trying to compare her father to the other fathers or uncles of her friends, or maybe like the fathers of her friends, in a way. So when I talk about the word palaver, it sounds as I am referring to pa lover. In a way, I am referring to someone who's in love with their father and then they cannot stop blabbering about. So that's why if someone is a palaver, is a person who speaks rapidly about that person. Why? Because every second thought into theirs is about them as pa, in a way. So I hope this word could be easily settled down with you guys so that you can work it out through these words or through my technique, that is mnemonics. Okay, the next word is enamor, out of which I would like you to highlight certain aspect or the spelling of enamor. So A-M-O-R, which exactly settles down or sits around A-M-O-U-R, amour in French. So when I talk about amour in French, I am referring to something in love. Amour in French is love. Enamor, of course, has to have that aspect of amour in it. That is where I refer to the meaning as feeling of love. So I am sure if I had to talk about the word or use this word enamor, I would definitely think of amour first, because I am aware of the word amour as the meaning is in love. That's where enamor settles and sits with amour, that is feeling of love. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, ineluctable. So when I talk about ineluctable, I am referring to someone who cannot be elected. In a way, someone who cannot be replaced. The meaning of it is impossible to avoid or impossible to replace, in a way. So someone who is electable is basically someone who can be challenged. But if I say someone who is ineluctable, that means someone who is not to be challenged. That means they stand at a position wherein none of us can probably challenge them. So when I talk about ineluctable, someone who cannot be elected, that's how that goes as impossible to avoid. The next word, the seventh word, is all about hoodwink. All of us basically wear hoodies. So that's where a hoodie is something which a person can hide their identity. Yes. And the next word to it is wink. Of course, with our eyes, we wink at someone if we probably have a plan getting into our head, or maybe like in a manner of exchanging some kind of communication, not verbal but body language. So when I talk about the word as hoodwink, I am referring to something as combination, as hoodie is to deceive and wink is a plan. So logically, if I talk about hoodwink, I have this meaning as deceive, trick someone. So when I have this particular word, that is, I am going to deceive someone or trick someone, or I have certain strategy to probably pull someone down in their dignity or anything else, I would rather use this word as hoodwink. So that should probably be a new word for all of you. It's easy, but then try and use it. Always remember, when you use vocabularies, you should probably make others comfortable about the usage and what does it mean and how do you have this capacity of remembering and retaining the words. Alright, the second last. The second last sounds as if I am teaching mathematics here, though it's not mathematics or trigonometry or geometry. Otherwise, if I would probably talk about in language, Obtuse. Obtuse begins with as in angles. I'm referring to certain angles, as in you and I, we have always heard about obtuse angle and acute angle, where obtuse angle is more widened up and acute is more to the point in a way. So when I talk about obtuse, if someone is obtuse, that means their thought process is wavering, in a way slow to learn or understand. So when I talk about the obtuse angle, which is wide, that means they have very many things in their brains, and because of which the concentration lacks. And if I talk about acute, I am referring to something which is more specific, which is more pointed, which is concentrated in a way. So that's how we can pull off the word obtuse and acute in language. So when I have this obtuse, I am referring to someone who's basically disturbed, who's probably not disturbed in a way, but then they have lacking in understanding because their mind is distorted. Okay, the last for the day is impugn. This is how it is pronounced. I-M-P-U-G-N is pronounced as impugn. By the way, basically impugn refers to the word as challenge. Now, if I have probably this technique of mnemonics, I probably talk of impugn with a word which has P-U-N-G. Now, last but not the least, how can you retain this? The word P-U-N-G-N can be understood as panga in a way. So if I probably talk about panga, we have heard panga refers to some challenge in a way, yes. So when I talk about the word impugn, I would definitely settle down with panga as the second half of the word and then bring it and connect it to the word which means as the challenge. So logically, if I had to probably talk of impugn, I would then talk about someone whom I'm challenging. That's how we can probably work on these words. As I said, to the last of the video, I'd probably share something which is corporate, which is into a behavior or a communication strategy which can help you make the best of your work life. Well, always remember, guys, if you have a certain set of work which you have to finish up, but your boss, your superior has asked you to do certain kind of work which they have given it to you, and you have to do it for some reason and then give it to them. Why? Because they are your superiors and your boss. Remember guys, you should always ask for time. It can always be, boss, when do you want me to give this back to you? Would it be okay if I give it to you by the end of the day? Why? Because I have certain priorities with this work which we have as a team. This needs to be completed. It's always that the boss should probably give you a guidance or guidelines. Ask for it. You should always ask for a guidance from your superiors so that they feel better, as well as when they are guiding you, they equally are aware of what kind of work are you already involved into, so that there is no communication flaw. So if a boss gives you a certain set of work and if you're already tied up with work, remember, ask your boss in a mannerism and put this statement to them. How soon would you want this work to be done? Or may I get this done by the end of the day? What is much suitable? Always remember, communicate well to be well. Thank you.